In a hidden research facility buried beneath the Arctic ice, Dr. Evelyn Grant made a discovery that would change everything. It was an ordinary day in her laboratory, surrounded by buzzing equipment and glowing screens. Her focus was on a complex experiment involving quantum entanglement, a phenomenon that had baffled scientists for decades. Her team had been working on it for years, searching for a breakthrough. As she adjusted the controls and monitored the readings, something unexpected happened. The sensors detected an anomaly, a strange fluctuation in the fabric of space-time itself. Dr. Grant's heart raced as she observed the data. This was unlike anything she had seen before. It wasn't just a glitch or an error. It was a genuine loophole in reality. Over the next few weeks, Dr. Grant worked tirelessly, poring over the data and running countless simulations. She realized that this loophole could be manipulated to bend space and time in ways previously thought impossible. It was a gateway to new dimensions, a means to teleport matter, and even alter the flow of time. Her discovery was revolutionary, but she knew it had to be handled carefully. The potential for both good and harm was immense. She decided to inform the Earth Defense Coalition, EDC, hoping they would understand the significance and use it wisely. News of Dr. Grant's discovery quickly spread to the highest echelons of the Earth Defense Coalition. General Nathaniel Hayes, a seasoned military strategist known for his keen insight and decisiveness, was one of the first to be briefed. He understood the potential immediately and saw both an opportunity and a threat. General Hayes wasted no time. He assembled a team of elite scientists and soldiers ready to explore and exploit this newfound loophole. The team included some of the brightest minds on the planet and the most skilled operatives the EDC had to offer. Among them were Dr. Marcus Lee, a physicist with a sharp mind and a knack for problem-solving, and Lieutenant Sarah Thompson, a fearless soldier with unmatched tactical prowess. The first tests of the loophole revealed astonishing results. They were able to create stable wormholes, teleporting objects across vast distances in the blink of an eye. They could manipulate the flow of time, slowing it down or speeding it up within localized areas. The implications were staggering. As they delved deeper, they realized the loophole could be used for more than just scientific curiosity. It had the potential to revolutionize travel, communication, and even warfare. The EDC saw an opportunity to gain a strategic advantage over any potential threats, both terrestrial and extraterrestrial. However, they also understood the risks. The loophole was a double-edged sword, and if it fell into the wrong hands, the consequences could be catastrophic. General Hayes and his team vowed to protect the secret at all costs, even as they prepared to harness its power. As humanity began to harness the loophole, they unknowingly triggered a series of cosmic events. Deep in the Andromeda Galaxy, the powerful Zerax Empire detected the disturbances. The Zerax were a technologically advanced race, known for their ruthless expansion and domination of weaker species. Their empire spanned hundreds of star systems, and they ruled with an iron fist. The Zerax had been monitoring space-time anomalies for centuries, always vigilant for signs of new technologies that could threaten their supremacy. When they detected the loophole's signature emanating from a previously inconspicuous planet, Earth, they knew they had to act swiftly. They understood the potential of the loophole and feared what a primitive species like humans might do with it. The Zerax High Council convened in emergency session. Supreme Commander Thraxus, a formidable leader with a reputation for strategic brilliance, took charge of the mission. He dispatched a fleet of Zerax warships to investigate the source of the anomaly and, if necessary, eliminate the threat. The fleet, consisting of colossal warships armed with devastating weaponry, arrived in Earth's orbit undetected. Their technology allowed them to cloak their presence, avoiding detection by human satellites and defense systems. They observed and waited, gathering intelligence on the humans and their newfound power. When the Zerax finally revealed themselves, it was with a sudden and brutal attack. Their ships descended upon Earth's major cities, unleashing a barrage of energy weapons that devastated infrastructure and sowed panic among the population. The EDC was caught off guard, their defenses overwhelmed by the sheer power and ferocity of the Zerax assault. General Hayes and his team scrambled to respond. They knew they had to act quickly to protect Dr. Grant and her discovery. Utilizing the loophole, they began to launch counterattacks, teleporting troops and supplies to critical locations, and striking at the Zerax forces with newfound precision. Despite their superior technology, the Zerax were unprepared for the unconventional tactics employed by the humans. The loophole gave the EDC a fighting chance, allowing them to outmaneuver the Zerax and strike where they least expected. The battle for Earth had begun, and humanity's resolve was about to be tested like never before. The Zerax fleet loomed over Earth, casting shadows that stretched for miles. Their initial strikes had devastated key military installations and research facilities, leaving chaos in their wake. Civilians huddled in shelters, their faces etched with fear and uncertainty. The sky was filled with the sounds of battle, as Earth's forces struggled to mount a defense against the alien invaders. General Nathaniel Hayes stood in the command center, surrounded by frantic activity. Screens displayed real-time data from the battlefield, showing the Zerax forces advancing with relentless precision. He knew they needed a game-changer, something to tip the scales in humanity's favor. His mind raced, trying to devise a strategy that would leverage their one advantage: the loophole. "Dr. Grant," he called out, "we need to use the loophole more aggressively. Can we create larger, more stable portals to launch surprise attacks?" Dr. Evelyn Grant, her eyes tired but determined, nodded. "It's risky, but we can do it. We'll need to synchronize our efforts and ensure our troops are ready to move at a moment's notice." Captain Maria Vega, a skilled pilot and leader of the EDC's elite strike force, stepped forward. "General, if we can get close enough to one of their capital ships, we could board it and disable their command and control systems. It might give us the edge we need." Hayes considered the plan. It was dangerous, but desperate times called for desperate measures. "Do it. Take whatever you need and make it happen." Vega assembled her team, a mix of seasoned soldiers and tech experts. They geared up, preparing for a mission that could very well be a one-way trip. Using the loophole, they created a portal that transported them directly onto the Zerax capital ship. The element of surprise was on their side. The interior of the Zerax ship was a labyrinth of alien technology and lethal traps. The team moved swiftly, neutralizing guards and hacking into systems. Vega led the charge, her instincts and training guiding her through the chaos. They reached the command center and began their assault, targeting key systems to cripple the ship's operations. Back on Earth, the EDC launched coordinated strikes, using the loophole to teleport behind enemy lines and hit the Zerax where they were weakest. The tide of battle began to shift as the Zerax struggled to adapt to the unpredictable tactics. The human spirit of innovation and resilience was on full display, turning the invaders' own strengths against them. With the Zerax forces momentarily thrown off balance, the Earth Defense Coalition seized the opportunity to regroup and fortify their defenses. Makeshift command centers were established, and communication lines reconnected. Civilians joined the effort, providing support in any way they could, from medical aid to logistical assistance. The human race was united against a common enemy. Dr. Grant and her team worked around the clock to refine their use of the loophole. They discovered ways to enhance its stability and increase its range, allowing for more precise and effective deployments. The EDC began to conduct hit-and-run operations, using the loophole to appear, strike, and vanish before the Zerax could mount a counterattack. Captain Vega's successful raid on the Zerax capital ship became a symbol of hope. Her team's bravery and ingenuity inspired others to take bold actions. Stories of resistance and defiance spread, lifting spirits and galvanizing the global population. The Zerax had underestimated humanity's tenacity and adaptability. In a captured Zerax scout ship, Dr. Grant stumbled upon a trove of valuable information. Detailed schematics, tactical plans, and intelligence reports revealed the inner workings of the Zerax Empire. Among the data, she found evidence of a significant weakness, a critical flaw in the Zerax energy shields that protected their ships and installations. She shared her findings with General Hayes, who immediately saw the potential. "If we can exploit this weakness, we can turn the tables on them. We need to hit them hard and fast, while they're still reeling from our counterattacks. Hayes and his team devised a plan to strike at key Zerax installations, using the loophole to bypass their defenses and deliver crippling blows. The EDC's elite forces, led by Captain Vega, prepared for a series of daring missions that would take them deep into enemy territory. The captured Zerax scout ship, now repurposed for human use, became the focal point of Dr. Grant's research. She spent hours poring over the alien data, her mind racing with the possibilities and implications. One discovery stood out. The Zerax had once been a peaceful and prosperous race, known for their advancements in science and art. Their downfall began when they discovered their own loophole, a similar anomaly in the fabric of reality. The Zerax had used their loophole to expand their empire, conquering and subjugating other civilizations. Over time, their society became obsessed with power and control, abandoning their noble ideals. This revelation painted the Zerax not just as oppressors, but as victims of their own ambition. Dr. Grant shared these insights with General Hayes and Captain Vega. "We're not just fighting a war," she said. "We're facing a civilization that lost its way. If we can understand their history, we might find a way to break their cycle of conquest and tyranny." Hayes nodded thoughtfully. "Knowledge is power. If we can turn their own technology and strategies against them, we can level the playing field. But we must remain vigilant. They won't hesitate to destroy us if given the chance." As the EDC prepared for their next phase of operations, Captain Vega led a mission to find potential allies among the stars. With the help of the loophole, they traveled to distant star systems, seeking out other civilizations that had suffered under Zerax rule. They encountered the Valoran, a species of telepathic beings with a deep sense of empathy, and the Turgon, formidable warriors with a strict code of honor. The Valoran and Turgon had long resisted the Zerax, but their efforts had been fragmented and isolated. Vega's proposal of a united front against their common enemy resonated deeply. With promises of freedom and revenge, they joined forces with humanity, forming an unprecedented interstellar alliance. Back on Earth, the EDC integrated their new allies into their operations. The Valoran provided valuable intelligence through their telepathic abilities, while the Turgon's martial prowess bolstered their military strength. The alliance was a testament to the power of unity and cooperation, standing as a beacon of hope in the face of overwhelming odds. Captain Maria Vega stood on the bridge of the EDC's flagship, the Intrepid, staring at the vast expanse of space. Beside her were representatives of their new allies, Valoran emissary Leora, her eyes glowing with telepathic insight, and Turgon war leader Korath, a towering figure clad in gleaming armor. They were en route to a secret meeting point, where their combined fleets would gather for the first time. The rendezvous took place near a distant asteroid belt, far from any prying eyes. As the human ships approached, Vega marveled at the sight of the Valoran and Turgon vessels. The Valoran ships were sleek and organic, almost as if they were alive, while the Turgon warships bristled with heavy weaponry and reinforced hulls. General Hayes addressed the assembled leaders via holographic link. "This alliance marks a new chapter in our struggle against the Zerax. United, we can strike a blow that will reverberate across the galaxy. Our first target is the Zerax outpost at Proxima Centauri. It is a vital strategic point, and its fall will cripple their supply lines." The leaders agreed on a plan of attack, each bringing their unique strengths to the table. The Valoran would provide intelligence and psychological warfare, using their telepathic abilities to sow confusion among the Zerax ranks. The Turgon would spearhead the assault, their warriors eager to engage the enemy in close combat. The humans, with their innovative use of the loophole, would coordinate the overall strategy and provide logistical support. The Allied fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system, their ships arrayed in a formidable formation. The Zerax outpost, a sprawling complex of fortified stations and defense platforms, bristled with activity as they scrambled to respond to the sudden incursion. General Hayes, aboard the Intrepid, gave the order to commence the attack. The Turgon warships surged forward, their heavy cannons unleashing a devastating barrage. The Valoran ships followed, their psychic warriors projecting waves of fear and confusion into the minds of the Zerax defenders. Human ships darted in and out of the fray, using the loophole to teleport to strategic positions and deliver precise strikes. Captain Vega led a squadron of fighters in a daring raid on the main Zerax command station. She weaved through a hail of enemy fire, her piloting skills and the loophole technology allowing her to outmaneuver the Zerax ships. Her team breached the station's defenses, fighting their way to the control center. Inside, they encountered fierce resistance. Zerax soldiers, heavily armed and trained, put up a brutal fight. Vega and her team pressed on, using their superior tactics and the element of surprise to gain the upper hand. The battle was intense, but they reached the control center and began to disable the outpost's defenses. Meanwhile, General Hayes coordinated the larger battle, his strategic acumen ensuring that every move counted. The Allied forces, working in perfect harmony, slowly gained the upper hand. The Zerax, overwhelmed by the unexpected and multifaceted assault, began to falter. After hours of relentless combat, the Allied fleet secured a decisive victory. The Zerax outpost lay in ruins, its defenses shattered, and its supply lines severed. The cost had been high, but the victory was a turning point. The message was clear. The Zerax were not invincible, and their reign of terror could be challenged. As the Alliance celebrated their hard-won victory, an insidious threat lurked within their ranks. The Zerax, unwilling to accept defeat, had embedded a spy among the humans. This agent, posing as a low-ranking technician, had been feeding critical information back to the Zerax High Command. Dr. Evelyn Grant, always vigilant, noticed anomalies in the data streams and communication logs. She began to suspect foul play and launched a covert investigation. Her suspicions were confirmed when she uncovered encrypted messages and unauthorized access logs pointing to the spy's activities. She reported her findings to General Hayes and Captain Vega. The news was a severe blow, coming at a time when trust and unity were paramount. The leaders of the Alliance were furious and worried about the potential damage already done. General Hayes addressed the Allied leaders in a secure conference. "We have a traitor in our midst. This betrayal has the potential to unravel everything we've worked for. We must root out this spy and ensure they can do no further harm." Dr. Grant worked tirelessly to decrypt the messages and trace them back to their source. The process was painstaking, but she was relentless. Meanwhile, Captain Vega and her team tightened security, implementing stricter protocols and conducting thorough searches. Tensions rose as suspicion and paranoia began to creep into the ranks. The once united front showed signs of strain. The Valoran and Turgon leaders demanded assurances that their people were not being falsely accused. General Hayes and Captain Vega worked to maintain the fragile alliance, emphasizing the importance of solidarity in the face of the common enemy. Finally, Dr. Grant cracked the code and identified the spy. It was a shocking revelation. The traitor was someone who had been with the EDC from the beginning, someone they had trusted implicitly. The spy was apprehended and interrogated, revealing the extent of the information leaked to the Zerax. With the spy neutralized, the Alliance took steps to repair the damage. Trust had been shaken, but the leaders knew they had to move forward. They redoubled their efforts, aware that the Zerax would not hesitate to exploit any weakness. The battle for Proxima Centauri had been a victory, but the war was far from over. The Zerax, humiliated by their defeat at Proxima Centauri, were determined to retaliate with a show of overwhelming force. Supreme Commander Thraxus, furious and desperate to reclaim lost honor, marshaled the largest fleet ever assembled by the Zerax Empire. Their target, Earth. As the massive Zerax armada approached, the skies over Earth darkened with foreboding. The EDC, alongside their Valoran and Turgon allies, braced for the impending onslaught. General Hayes, ever the strategist, began formulating a defense plan. He knew they were outnumbered and outgunned, but he also knew they had the loophole and the element of surprise. Dr. Evelyn Grant and her team worked around the clock to enhance their control over the loophole. They developed new tactics and refined existing ones, preparing for the battle that could determine the fate of humanity. Captain Maria Vega, now a seasoned leader, rallied her troops, instilling them with courage and determination. The Zerax attacked with relentless fury, their ships unleashing torrents of destructive energy. Earth's defenses struggled to hold, with cities and military bases taking heavy damage. The EDC responded with everything they had, utilizing the loophole to teleport troops and resources to critical points, launching counterattacks to disrupt the Zerax formations. Captain Vega led a daring mission to infiltrate the Zerax flagship. Using the loophole, her team boarded the ship, navigating its labyrinthine corridors amidst heavy resistance. Their objective: disable the doomsday weapon that threatened to annihilate continents. As Vega and her team fought their way to the weapon's control center, Dr. Grant orchestrated a series of precision strikes, using the loophole to outmaneuver the Zerax and create openings for Vega's assault. The combined efforts of the ground forces and the loophole operations kept the Zerax off balance, preventing them from fully leveraging their numerical superiority. The battle raged on, a titanic struggle of wills and technology. The Allied forces, though battered and weary, fought with a ferocity born of desperation. Finally, Captain Vega and her team reached the control center, engaging in a brutal close-quarters fight. With skill and determination, they managed to disable the doomsday weapon, averting catastrophe. Despite heavy losses, the Allied forces managed to repel the Zerax attack. The victory came at a great cost, but it was a testament to human resilience and the power of unity. Earth had survived the Zerax's most powerful strike, and the invaders had been dealt a significant blow. In the aftermath of the Zerax counterattack, the Alliance faced its darkest hour. Earth was scarred, and the losses weighed heavily on the survivors. Yet, out of the chaos and destruction, a new resolve emerged. The human spirit of resilience, combined with the unyielding will of their Valoran and Turgon allies, forged an unbreakable bond. General Hayes convened a summit of the Allied leaders, emphasizing the need for a coordinated response. The Zerax will not stop until they've crushed us. We must strike at the heart of their empire, take the fight to them, and end this war once and for all. Dr. Grant presented her latest findings, including a way to use the loophole to launch a direct assault on the Zerax homeworld. We've identified a critical weakness in their defenses. If we can exploit it, we can strike a decisive blow. The Allied leaders agreed on a bold plan, a full-scale assault on the Zerax homeworld. It was a risky strategy, but they knew it was their best chance to end the Zerax threat. The preparations were intense, with every available resource directed towards the final battle. The Valoran used their telepathic abilities to bolster morale and coordinate efforts, while the Turgon warriors trained relentlessly, preparing for the brutal combat that awaited them. The humans, ever resourceful, adapted their technology and tactics to maximize the loophole's potential. As the fleet assembled, Captain Vega stood with her team, reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this point. They had faced insurmountable odds and emerged stronger. Now they were ready to bring the fight to the enemy's doorstep. The combined fleet, a symbol of unity and defiance, set course for the Zerax homeworld. The journey was fraught with peril, with Zerax patrols and automated defenses posing constant threats. Yet the Alliance pressed on, driven by the shared determination to see justice done and to secure a future free from tyranny. The Allied fleet emerged from hyperspace above the Zerax homeworld, a planet shrouded in darkness and bristling with defensive fortifications. The sight of the formidable Zerax stronghold was both awe-inspiring and intimidating. Yet the resolve of the Allied forces never wavered. General Hayes gave the order to commence the assault. The Turgon warships led the charge, their heavy armor absorbing the brunt of the enemy fire. The Valoran ships, guided by telepathic coordination, executed precision strikes on key targets. Human vessels, utilizing the loophole, performed hit-and-run attacks, sowing chaos among the Zerax defenses. Dr. Grant, aboard the Intrepid, coordinated the loophole operations with surgical precision. She created portals that allowed Allied ships to bypass the outer defenses and strike at critical infrastructure. Captain Vega, leading the vanguard, spearheaded the assault on the Central Command Complex. The battle was a spectacle of epic proportions. Ships clashed in a ballet of destruction, with explosions lighting up the dark skies. Ground forces, transported via the Loophole, engaged in fierce combat on the planet's surface. The Zerax, despite their technological superiority, struggled to contain the relentless and multifaceted assault. Captain Vega and her team fought their way to the heart of the Zerax command center. The resistance was fierce, with heavily armed Zerax soldiers defending their territory with ferocity. Vega, her combat skills honed through countless battles, led her team with unwavering determination. In the central chamber, Supreme Commander Thraxus awaited, flanked by elite guards. The final confrontation was brutal and intense, a desperate struggle for control of the Empire's nerve center. Vega and Thraxus clashed, their battle a symbolic representation of the larger conflict. Dr. Grant, monitoring the battle from the Intrepid, used the Loophole to provide critical support. She created portals to deliver reinforcements and supplies, ensuring that Vega's team had the upper hand. The combined efforts of the ground forces and the Loophole operations overwhelmed the Zerax defenders. Finally, with a decisive strike, Captain Vega defeated Thraxus, bringing the long and bloody conflict to an end. The Zerax command structure crumbled, and their forces, leaderless and demoralized, began to surrender. As the dust settled, the Allied forces stood victorious. The Zerax Empire, once a symbol of tyranny and oppression, lay in ruins. The Alliance had triumphed, not just through superior tactics and technology, but through unity, resilience, and the unbreakable spirit of those who fought for freedom. The victory marked the beginning of a new era. The galaxy, once dominated by fear and oppression, now had a chance to rebuild and heal. The story of how humans found a loophole in reality and changed the fate of countless civilizations would be told for generations, a testament to the power of unity and the enduring spirit of hope. The once mighty Zerax Empire lay in ruins, its capital smoldering and its forces scattered. The Allied fleet orbited the Zerax homeworld, their ships a symbol of newfound hope and unity. Celebrations erupted across the galaxy as word of the victory spread, from the bustling cities of Earth to the serene landscapes of Valora and the rugged terrains of Turgon. For the first time in generations, countless civilizations could envision a future free from Zerax tyranny. On Earth, people emerged from shelters and homes, looking up at the sky with a mix of relief and pride. Reconstruction efforts began immediately, with a renewed sense of purpose and cooperation. The scars of war were deep, but humanity's spirit of resilience and innovation shone brightly. International cooperation reached unprecedented levels as nations united to rebuild and advance together. General Nathaniel Hayes stood on the deck of the Intrepid, looking out over the peaceful scene unfolding below. His heart swelled with pride for what they had achieved, but he knew the road ahead was still long. "This victory is just the beginning," he addressed the assembled crew and leaders. "We have to ensure that the sacrifices made were not in vain. We must build a future where freedom and cooperation prevail over tyranny and fear." Dr. Evelyn Grant, her eyes bright with the thrill of discovery, continued her work on the Loophole. She had barely scratched the surface of its potential, and she was determined to ensure it would be used for the betterment of all. "We've seen what the Loophole can do," she said in a broadcast to the Allied worlds. "Now it's our responsibility to use this power wisely, to explore, to heal, and to advance together." Captain Maria Vega, now a hero to many, was given a new mission: to lead an exploratory fleet into uncharted regions of the galaxy. Her team, composed of representatives from the allied species, would seek out new civilizations, offer aid, and forge alliances. It was a mission of peace and discovery, embodying the spirit of the new era. The Valoran, with their profound empathy and telepathic abilities, took on the role of mediators and peacekeepers. They helped broker treaties and understandings between previously hostile races, fostering an atmosphere of trust and cooperation. The Turgon, with their martial prowess and code of honor, became guardians, protecting vulnerable worlds and ensuring the stability of the newfound peace. On the Zerax homeworld, a council was established to oversee the transition from empire to a federation of free states. Formerly subjugated species were given a voice, and efforts to heal the wounds of war began in earnest. The Zerax, now free from the grip of their own militaristic leaders, faced a long path of redemption and reconstruction. As the galaxy began to heal and rebuild, the alliance solidified into a lasting federation. Earth, Valora, and Turgon, along with countless other liberated worlds, formed a council to guide the future. The lessons learned from the war and the victory shaped their policies, emphasizing cooperation, mutual respect, and the pursuit of knowledge. Dr. Grant's research into the loophole led to breakthroughs in travel, medicine, and energy. The technology that had once been a weapon became a tool for progress and unity. Wormholes allowed for instantaneous travel between distant worlds, bringing cultures and civilizations closer than ever before. Advances in medical science, inspired by the loophole's principles, eradicated diseases and extended lifespans. Captain Vega's exploratory fleet sent back reports of new worlds and civilizations, each one a potential ally and friend. Her missions brought back not just knowledge, but also hope and inspiration. The stars, once vast and lonely, were now within reach, each one a beacon of possibility. The story of how humans found a loophole in reality and changed the fate of the galaxy became legend. It was a tale of courage, resilience, and unity in the face of overwhelming odds. It inspired generations to come, reminding them that even in the darkest of times, the light of hope and the strength of unity could forge a path to a brighter future. As the sun set on the Zerax homeworld, casting long shadows over the ruins of the old empire, a new dawn rose over Earth and its allies. The galaxy was filled with the promise of peace and progress, a testament to what could be achieved when different races united for a common cause. The alliance stood as a beacon of hope, guiding the way forward into a future where the stars themselves were within reach.